The moment I saw Mom and Dad playing together, true family story. When I look back on my childhood, there are countless memories that make me laugh, cry, and sometimes shake my head in disbelief. Growing up in a suburban neighborhood in Ohio, I always thought my parents, Karen and David Miller, were the most ordinary people in the world. They were kind, hardworking, and fiercely protective of their children. But there was one particular day, a moment burned into my memory, when I saw them in a way I had never seen before. That moment didn't break me or scar me. Instead, it taught me something about love, resilience, and the way adults try to keep their families together, even when life tests them in ways we, as kids, can't understand at the time. I was only 16 when it happened. It was a rainy Saturday in late spring, and the house smelled like fresh laundry and my mom's famous chicken noodle soup. My little sister, Emily, who was 10 at the time, was in the living room watching cartoons, wrapped in a blanket. I had just finished mowing the lawn in the drizzle because Dad had insisted, a little rain never hurt anybody. I disagreed, of course, but Dad's word was usually final. As I walked inside, dripping wet and shivering, I threw my sneakers in the mudroom and wandered down the hallway toward the kitchen. That's when I heard it. At first, I thought Mom and Dad were arguing, something that wasn't uncommon in our house back then. They had been under a lot of stress, bills piling up, Dad working late shifts at the auto repair shop, Mom managing 2 part-time jobs to keep food on the table. Their voices were low but intense, and I hesitated, not wanting to interrupt. But then, I heard laughter. Not just any laughter, the kind of playful, light-hearted laughter that had been missing from our home for months. It startled me. I slowly peeked around the corner of the dining room, and that's when I saw them. My parents were in the middle of what could only be described as a silly, spontaneous game. Dad was chasing Mom around the kitchen island, holding a dish towel like a flag, while Mom darted away, giggling like a teenager. She grabbed a handful of flour from the counter, she had been baking bread earlier, and tossed it at him. A white puff exploded across Dad's shirt, and instead of getting mad, he roared with laughter, his eyes sparkling in a way I hadn't seen in years. I froze. Here were my parents, 2 people I had grown used to seeing stressed, tired, and serious, suddenly acting like carefree kids. They didn't see me at first, and in that hidden moment, I felt like I was witnessing a side of them I had never known. Mom ducked behind the fridge, her brown hair messy from running, and Dad caught her by the wrist, pulling her into a playful spin. They looked at each other for a long moment, laughing so hard tears rolled down their cheeks. And then they hugged. Not a quick, distracted hug like they usually shared when Dad left for work, but a real, tight embrace that said everything words couldn't. I backed away quietly, my chest full of emotions I couldn't name. Relief. Happiness. Confusion. Even a little embarrassment, because it felt like I had stumbled into something private and sacred. That day stayed with me, but it wasn't just a funny family memory. It became the turning point in how I understood my parents and their marriage. Over the next few weeks, I started noticing subtle changes. They cooked together more often, turned on music in the evenings, and even dragged me and Emily into board games after dinner. It felt like a storm had passed, and we were finally seeing sunshine again. One night, while helping Mom clean up after dinner, I asked, "What's going on with you and Dad? You two seem different." She smiled, drying a plate with a towel. "Different good or different bad?" "Good," I admitted. "It's just, you both seem happier." She paused, looking thoughtful. "Marriage isn't easy, honey. Sometimes you forget how to laugh together, and life feels heavier than it should. But your dad and I realized we needed to fight for the joy we used to have. That doesn't mean everything is perfect, but we're trying. And trying matters." Her words sank deep into me. At 16, I was just beginning to understand that adults weren't superheroes, they were people with flaws, struggles, and the same need for love and connection as anyone else. Years later, when I left for college, I carried that memory with me. Whenever I faced challenges, whether it was a failed exam, a falling out with a friend, or the stress of juggling part-time work with classes, I remembered my parents playing in the kitchen that day. I remembered how laughter had carried them through their hardest times. Even now, as an adult, I realize that moment was about more than just seeing Mom and Dad play together. It was about understanding that love isn't just about romance or grand gestures, it's about choosing joy, even in the middle of hardship. Sometimes, when I visit home, I still catch them sneaking playful glances at each other, cracking inside jokes, or dancing to music while cooking dinner. Emily and I tease them for being cringy, but deep down, I'm grateful. Grateful that I got to see love in action, not just in words. Because that day, all those years ago, reminded me and continues to remind me that the heart of family is built on laughter, forgiveness, and the courage to hold on to joy when life tries to take it away.